In a world of AI answers, are we optimizing for machines or teaching them what to say? Metehan Yesilyurt is the co-founder and chief growth officer at AEO Vision, a company trying to reverse engineer the black box that is large language model visibility. He spent more than a decade in digital marketing, from App Samurai to media in Turkey, and now he's all in on decoding how generative AI reshapes search. This episode dives deep into the evolving mechanics of visibility in an AI-first internet. We explore how platforms like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Claude select citations, why rank in this context is more probabilistic than positional, and what SEOs need to rethink about content structure, brand citations, and synchronized publishing. Metehan breaks down concepts like Reciprocal Rank Fusion, embedding similarity thresholds, and even how YouTube and schema might influence LLM behavior. The real story is optimization hasn't died. It's just changed form, and the rules are being rewritten in real time. Metehan is one of the leading voices in how LLMs ground and respond to prompts. This episode will leave you with an aha moment from start to finish. Here we go. Welcome to another exciting episode of the PageTube podcast, episode 99. We are almost to the 100 mark. As always, I'm your host, John Clark, joined by my partner in crime at Moving Traffic Media, Joe DeVita.
Right.
And today we're excited to welcome Metehan Yesilyurt to the show. Super excited to talk about AI discovery on ChatGPT rankings, Perplexity, all those sorts of things. But maybe to start, you recently co-founded AEO Vision. You were at App Samurai for about 5 years before that. And I was curious, what prompted you to sort of leave App Samurai after such a long tenure and start something in the SaaS space?
I have experience more than 10 years in digital marketing industry as a professional, and I started with websites when I was younger. I'm 32, by the way. The time just flies, I worked at a digital marketing agency, inbound marketing agency, then jumped in a large news media outlet in Turkey. Then just during the pandemic, I would like to jump in the SaaS space, especially the mobile apps were rising. They are still rising, but everyone is locked in their houses. So everything just went mobile and web. And I just want to learn more about mobile, the new hype. And after successful, and I'm grateful to App Samurai team, we had a great 5 years. Then, the things just went crazy. I mean, the AI hype. We targeting the US market at App Samurai, and then realized end of 24, I noticed something weird on our search console and analytics, and everyone was talking about the new zero-click world. Then when I was to start digging, I realized some things were changing. I mean, I still live in Turkey and I need to change my connection with VPN to see US results. Then I realized all AI things, AI overviews and other AI related features rolled out in Google. Then I was actually, this is an honest review from me, I was very boring with doing SEO during the 23. Especially because everyone was talking and advising you need to optimize your web page speed. Yes. And so what? You need to create the high engaging content. Yes. But how? Everyone was saying and spreading same narrative. So when I met with AI during the 23, especially ending of the year, then I was very excited. Then every digital marketer, I believe we have a passion that if I knew how to code, I can create billions of dollars market. Just I need to learn how to code. And with these AI features, new models from large language models. So I was very excited and I just jumped into SEO world again with my all passion. Then started working on AI overviews, search generative experience during those times. Then I jumped in the AI world. Then I realized I'm very excited to work with AI, using AI to learn more stuff. Then started to reverse engineering on search engines. Then, ChatGPT just came out, new disruptive product in the market. Then I felt like, wow, this is just amazing. And everyone went crazy again. Then start to work heavily on AI search stuff and including SEO. By the way, I'm not a new type of GEO guys. I love using GEO and AEO. I most prefer AEO, but I still believe in SEO because if you complete the fundamentals of SEO, you can succeed in AI search. And I believe the main difference is between RAG and hybrid search. I mean, the traditional search engines like Google, Bing, and all others. Then I realized that I'm obsessed with AI, working on reverse engineering. So I decided to jump on just the AI train. Then I met my current partners in the company, AEO Vision, and we founded AEO Vision. And right now, thanks to God, my only job is focusing on these AI things, AI stuffs, optimization, talking with our customers, playing with dashboard features. And now we are here.
Amazing. I was looking at I was digging through the site. It's eovision.ai. And one of the things I noticed was that you talk a lot about, measure your visibility, define your presence. But the word rank, which is so often attributed with traditional SEO, wasn't prevalent on the site. And it made me start thinking about a question that we really haven't asked anyone yet, which is, how would you define rank in an LLM, right? Like maybe help our listeners sort of get their arms or maybe mind around what rank is in an LLM, because it's not really rank, right? It's something totally different.
We are still chasing 10 blue links in Google. And I believe traditional search engines is a new narrative that we're used to call it. I love still Google, and I believe Google is the best machine learning company in the world because they have their own servers, engineers, and they have a 25 years index advantage than any LLMs, especially if they're using web grounding feature. If I need to define rank, first, it depends. It depends on your question. You can ask same questions a few minutes later in any LLM. The context doesn't change, but you can see citations are changing or some words or verbs. If the answer is coming from offline training data, like you can ask a recipe, then you just see the old question. But if you ask the latest AI news, you can see they are connecting to web, scrape from traditional search engines, and you can see the citations. But it's very dynamic, and I believe from my perspective, and of course this is in the nature of LLMs, they have a temperature settings, so we don't play with these settings. But if we meet all together tomorrow and talk about the same topics, our wordings can change, but context will stay the same. So LLMs are trying to mimic the natural human conversation. And they have some layers like re-ranking, and they have some, let's say, backend settings like temperature, creative. So it changes all the time. But if you have a great content with a great structure on your web page, you can rank in LLMs, but there are now hundreds of prompt tracking tools at the moment. And we are sending prompts with using APIs without any personalization. Unfortunately, this is the nature of our market at the moment. And we are fetching and saving in a, let's say, daily or hourly basis just from one window only. But there are hundreds of them. So ranking is also dynamic, but it's important to inject or include your brand every time, even you're not in citations. I believe this is the current situation, and we will figure it out for a more stable ranking, I believe.
I think it sounds like you prefer we just stop talking about rank as we move toward this whole new system to optimize for. Maybe we don't set ourselves up for success if we try to carry over that same KPI. You gave a very eloquent and long-winded answer, but is your advice just you have to move on? This isn't the same old optimization. This isn't optimization. We don't measure success with rank anymore. We should stop talking about it.
No. I believe you need to create your own media channels at the moment, your own content distribution, because I was just using keyword stuffing in, I guess, 2008 when I was in high school.
The good old days.
Yeah, good old days. You can use keyword stuffing everywhere, the 1 pixel content parts, etc. But then social media came out, and I read many news in the past, like SEO is dead, so social is the new channel. But SEO isn't that. It's just evolving, and we need to rank. And I believe the brand visibility is the most important factor at the moment. You need to be visible. If your audience is using TikTok, you need to be in there. If your audience is using Substack, you need to be in there because they're active and they joined in a community, and you need to keep that community and distribute your content effectively. So rank is important, but I believe at this moment, the brand visibility and impressions, even we couldn't find a chance to get impressions from LLMs at the moment. I mean, think like an OpenAI search console, but visibility is important, right? And ranking is too, of course, but it's dynamic.
So I think the emphasis on brand citations maybe leads us nicely into the Reciprocal Rank Fusion, or RRF, which came out of some of your discoveries around how ChatGPT sort of determines an answer to a search. So maybe just for the listeners, can you take us through what that discovery was, maybe a little bit of background around RRF, which is really difficult for me to say for some reason. And we'll start there and then sort of dig into some of the findings that you had.
Yeah. Let's call it Rank Fusion. And it's a concept. I found the original academic paper from 2009. From my perspective, and these are the industry general information, LLMs are now requiring too much computational power. And you need to use, if you're an LLM engineer or AI company, you need to find the best methods that can benefit your servers. You need to save money. So you can use effective, and you need to consider to satisfy your users, your audience, and with a great answer quality. So Rank Fusion is a concept and mathematical formula that if I ask latest AI news, if I prompt and just send it to ChatGPT, and you can actually test yourself with using AIMA ChatGPT plugin, and there are many others. You can see ChatGPT actually returns around more than 40 results, but we see only 12 to 20 results in citations at most in general, I mean. So there should be a reducing mathematical formula or concept. So we see only the final citation results. So Rank Fusion, if you ask a prompt, ask a question to LLMs are fetching from search engines and retrieve the results. And they are using Rank Fusion to reduce scoring these results and showing the final top candidates in citations. So when I dig in the source code, I realized that. And also Microsoft is using this, and it's well documented in Azure website for developers. So Rank Fusion is basically you ask, and LLMs are using a very similar approach to fan outs in AI mode at the moment. So let's say they are using 5 subqueries at the moment. So at least they need to retrieve 50 results. Then they score it and show us the final citations up to 20 right now. This is the concept.
Got it. So I think one of your takeaways was, or I guess one of the reasons why you want a more comprehensive keyword universe is because within those 30 to 40 results, you want to be mentioned more often. And therefore, your RS score will be higher than someone who only has one piece of content within those collective results. Is that a fair way to summarize what you're thinking here?
Yeah.
So I guess one of my questions was, have you started using any of those insights for like keyword research? Like, has it changed how you do keyword research, or have you just sort of leaned into, I'm just going to write around what maybe my customer wants, and hopefully that aligns to, prompts that folks are putting into these engines?
Yes. Actually, I'm also a user in ChatGPT and other LLMs, and our world is just changing the digital direction to asking questions. And in the old great times, if we are looking for, let's say, a coffee machine under $100, we need to chase the 10 blue links as a buyer, then read all links, summarize it using our own brain, then read the all reviews on Amazon, watch videos on YouTube maybe, or Facebook, then make the final decision. But right now we are just asking same questions with using some, let's say, maybe filters or specifications. LLMs just fetch the final product and show, let's say, 3 candidates to buy. So right now we are asking more questions, and it's obvious Google wants to go in that direction. So questions are more important. And for questions, I'm using, actually, we are also using, everyone is very popular. People also ask questions. So if we look in real questions from users, it's just more useful at the moment, I believe.
And so I definitely want to dig into how you're thinking about optimizing content, but in more detail. So when you're sort of building out your page, are you structuring it sort of like question, answer, question, answer? Yeah. I wanted to dig into the comments you had around like brand citations, and you talk a little bit about like synchronized publishing. So you have your owned property, like let's call it your website, but then you also have all these social platforms like Reddit and YouTube that you just mentioned. I was curious, like how do you think about the cadence of that distribution? Like, is it all at once? And so you're trying to get all of those things working together to influence as fast as possible? Or is it something that you sort of drip out over time in a way to influence the rank? How are you guys thinking about that?
I believe if you're a solopreneur, you can push same content, just every channel you own or you manage. But I found this a little bit spammy. Sometimes I'm just posting same content, but try to update it a little bit. I believe you need to be visible almost on every channel where your audience live. Unfortunately, by the way, because it's very time consuming and you need to think the platform dynamics. You can post LinkedIn post, let's say, cross posting to TikTok and LinkedIn. It's not possible and useful, So if you create content that aligns with the platform audience, it will help much better for your brand visibility. And actually, you are talking your audience language. The Gen Z is just talking in a different way. So I believe you need to create unique posts for each platform, but it's time consuming, and I'm a very lazy person, by the way.
Because you want engagement. If you have a great post in LinkedIn and you get some commentary, you can't use that same content for TikTok because the audience will disregard it.
Yeah.
There's no real advantage to your AI strategy, your answer engine optimization strategy if a post to TikTok creates no engagement. Am I right?
Yes. I'm not saying, by the way, you need to be visible on every social platform. I mean, you can pick some and focus on it. Let's say Reddit, let's say TikTok. If we read the reports from our lovely industry for the citations, market share, you can see Reddit was on the top.
Right.
And Quora and all other forums, Wikipedia and all others. I guess TikTok is not in the leadership at the moment, but it will rise. And I believe TikTok is very useful because the audience is just using the comment section very crazy. They are asking a lot of great questions. And I want to tie this topic to your previous question. I'm still using keyword research from tools like Ahrefs, SEMrush, Google Trends, and all other platforms. But I believe if you can access and see the real users' questions with the real data without creating synthesized questions from LLMs, because you can ask what can be the possible questions to LLMs. But rather than that, if you can see and mine those real questions, it will be more helpful. So it's not a requirement. You need to be active on every social platform, but it helps, and it helps your brand visibility and trust.
I think one of the first blog posts I came across that you'd written was around, I think it was an extension of your discoveries on ChatGPT, and it was around like AI share buttons. So
Yeah.
sort of feeding prompts with sharing the content.
Yeah.
And then since then, I've seen, New York Times and other publishers use like a summarize with AI button and things like that. Are those good implementations to increase citations? Like, have you tested that at all and seen that be as impactful as synchronized publishing across other platforms?
Yes, I published these methods. It works, but it just won't drive millions of traffic. It's not working for the LLM's global training. It only tries to target is not the correct keyword, but it's trying to align with personal user memory, because sometimes I just paste the full link and want to summarize it and just save it to my notes, because I don't want to miss any new great content, and AI is very helpful. Then I realized that after a while, ChatGPT started to reference those links from past chats. So I found this very impressive, because also ChatGPT is improving their own system. Then I just want to test it out, and it worked. It won't drive tens of thousands of traffic, but I can still see the improvement and the increasing traffic from ChatGPT. Of course, there are many factors, and there are many considerations. You can't use AI share buttons everywhere in every industry, because interrupting the current session is not good, because you're sending the user in another tab and you don't know if they come back to your website again. But it's like retargeting in the paid ads. So you can build your audience with using AI share buttons, and you can see the effects. As I mentioned, it won't drive millions of traffic to your website, but if your audience is good enough and maybe you are driving, let's say, 3 million clicks from your website, it will work much better. But I love this concept.
Yeah, I mean, it's a smart way to sort of seed your content within the user's memory, like you said.
Yeah.
To potentially be recalled later. So it may not drive immediate traffic, but you give yourself the improved option for that content to be served up in a future prompt.
Yes,
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Many examples, people just sharing their examples and testings on LinkedIn and X. I'm grateful for that. Some group started to use it in their newsletters, actually, because there are many external links and these are common user experience, and they just click to links. So they had a great success. Of course, I can share the results without their permission, and I don't think they will give it to me, but there are many different cases at the moment.
We had Dwayne Forster on a few episodes ago, and he talked about this idea of the verification layer, right? Like the LLMs need some sort of trust or level of verification in order to surface some of the content. And I think a lot of what you found from both ChatGPT and your Perplexity insights were around sort of this idea of like trusted domains and things like that. Do you have an opinion or any thoughts on how like traditional like SEO eat factors like play a role in how LLMs surface up content? Like, is there correlations there?
I believe yes, but there are some differences, because the traditional search engines also considers the backlink quality, the narrative anchor text, but
Right.
LLMs don't follow these metrics as usual. So I believe if you use more open language, let's say, you define with more semantic and relevant keywords, you can show your expertise authoritative to LLMs, I believe.
Can you think of any optimizations you might make for better LLM visibility that would hurt your organic search strategy?
If you only optimize your website directly to LLMs, I believe your rankings can hurt. Let's say if you only consider BM25 or lexical match to optimize your content, or if you just use bullet points everywhere, it's not useful for the user experience. And we know the UX is now a part of SEO right now. It just doesn't matter for them at the moment. So yes, it can hurt your rankings if you only optimize for AI search. And this is my perspective because I still love SEO and I saw many patterns and I recommend on my posts or custom JavaScript snippets or optimization tips, please do not optimize your website only for LLMs.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's interesting about, LLM content optimization is you really truncate down a lot of the content into its most simple form, which is not always the way that humans prefer to read. And you're significantly diminishing the word count on the page. I might get the sentence wrong, but you recommended something to the effect of every 300 words, use like anchors, sort of reasoning chains, synthesis hooks, I believe you called it. Is that a good sort of framework to balance the need for writing for LLMs and for users?
Yes, I believe that we know there are many new sayings and terms in the market right now, like semantic chunking. They're all fancy words. I love using them too, but not too much, because if you use too much fancy words, you can look like a GEO guy. SEO is that, GEO is the new narrative, like no.
Right.
But it's obvious, and we know LLMs has a limited context window. I mean, for the token size, I run many experiments on this. They started to guess the right of the content. Let's say if you just upload 5,000 pages of PDF to LLMs, they won't process it all, but they will have a guess for the ending or for the remaining pages. They can't just process or understand. So if you use a clear summary top of your page, let's say your blog pages, and everyone has different use cases at the moment, but it will be useful, yes, especially for their embedding models to understand entities, entity relations, semantic space.
That's interesting because if you have a really long article and you ask it to summarize it and it's beyond that token window, you may not get the full summary.
Yeah.
Which is sort of interesting. I bet many people don't necessarily know that. So maybe let's transition to Perplexity. I know the market share is a little bit smaller there, but I thought the findings around, what Perplexity takes into account in terms of rankings was super interesting. And maybe to start, did you find any relationships between the sort of Perplexity findings and ChatGPT, or did they appear to be more different than you expected?
Yes, there are some different factors. I didn't have a chance to decode ChatGPT in fully, unfortunately, but for Perplexity and ChatGPT, and yes, you're right, for the market share at the moment. And I believe the bad part is no AGI yet. Everyone is using highly manually configured search configurations, feature flags at the moment. And still Google is the best for the real-time results and rankings. But for Perplexity and ChatGPT, they are using almost same content freshness window. And it's different in Perplexity Discover tab because they have a Discover tab just similar as Google Discover. And they launched their agentic browser right now, the content freshness, and they're using embedding models to understand text better, the relations. Everyone is using their own embedding models, and they are using re-ranking formulations, I believe, very similar way, but it seems Perplexity is using most likely the Google results, I believe. But ChatGPT, OpenAI has an agreement with Microsoft, so we know they are also using Bing for the search results, but it seems hybrid. They are going between Google and Bing at the moment, but these are the similarities I noticed.
What
Freshness factor. We don't talk about it enough. I want to ask a maybe unrelated question. Hopefully it is related. For many years, we have told smaller clients mostly, but most clients, when you're optimizing for organic search, you just optimize for Google and you'll see some success with Microsoft's Bing. With a handful of different foundational LLMs, you can't do that. It doesn't seem like you can do that. You can't optimize for ChatGPT and hope to see results with Perplexity or Claude. Or can you?
I believe they have all different with minor changes for the re-ranking systems, especially for the re-ranking layer. And they are using different embedded models. I mean, ChatGPT has different, Google has different. So they all have different perspective, but staying in the same context window because they know who is the president of the United States at the moment. They can all find the right answer at the moment, but they have some differences. I don't think they're major, but for the Perplexity, they don't have their own LLM. They are using other LLMs to deliver search results. But ChatGPT, they have their own offline training model. Now we are using GPT-5. So there are the differences, but I believe you can be successful in every LLM, but also LLMs have different formulations. Even their minor changes, the possibilities are changing like millions of possibilities for every LLM. So you need to be more, let's say Perplexity is using very high embedding similarity threshold, but it seems ChatGPT is using the most cheap computational models to fetch results and re-rank them in a new order. And for the cloud, they're expert on the coding field right now, we see, and Gemini is using just basically Google. So it changes all the time, and I believe it's also dynamic.
One of the parameters that you discovered was enable underscore search underscore URLs underscore based underscore dedupe. And
Yeah.
I thought that was super interesting because the duplicate content issue for Google has been long and well documented, right? Like, what is the primary source and when do I serve that versus something else? How do I manage for that duplicate content from an index perspective? I was curious, like, how that impacts Perplexity's ranking, meaning are they filtering out all the search results that they're evaluating in sort of a fan out, or are they trying to determine what is that primary source based on citations or whatever else to serve that up instead? Does that make sense?
Yes, at some point, the duplication filtering or the application filtering isn't just for the content. They want to diversify the results with different opinions and perspectives, just like Google. You can see a forum discussion. They can make a fan out search, like only using site operator to fetch only from Reddit, include them in a dynamic order. So it's similar and it's changing, but it's dynamic too at the moment for the citations and topic similarities, page similarities. But at the end of the day, in the nature of LLMs, they want to show different results from different perspectives. And of course, they want to satisfy users. So they're using also the application filters.
I thought one of the most interesting things that you discovered was the relationship between YouTube and Perplexity and potentially the way to, again, I don't know if spam is the right word, but spin up content on YouTube quickly to potentially rank in Perplexity. Have you done any more tests around that since that discovery, maybe on the content side or?
Yes, you can imagine I run many experiments around the week. I went silent on my socials for a while, but I didn't want to share all results because I don't want to change our direction to spamming all the world. And right now, Google became a spam filtering machine on the indexing part. You can just set up a new website and expect, okay, my millions of pages index in just an hour. So, but YouTube is working and it's related with the system prompts of LLMs at the moment. And they also have some configurations for their agentic new browser. And it's also uses just check my video history, find relative videos and remind me something like that for the system prompt. And I believe YouTube is the most underrated channel at the moment for LLMs because Google just started to use YouTube results and YouTube shorts in AI overviews and AI modes, but they have a very great content platform. So if you use YouTube effectively to reach more people or just want to spread your knowledge, expertise, all your informations, even playbooks, tutorials. So YouTube is a great platform and Perplexity just cached it in a great way and they are using it very effectively.
For companies thinking about producing video, they should be thinking about how to optimize for the YouTube platform. Whereas many platforms want video, it's really only how that video exists on YouTube that matters with answer engine optimization. What do you think about imagery? A lot of people use LLMs to create and to learn and to see. Can you optimize images? Any advice to optimize images for LLMs to help with brand visibility?
Yes, I realize many solopreneurs and content creators are using AI, but the hardest part is creating long form AI videos, let's say. And AI image models are getting better and better every hour, every day. So I also use AI image generation tools. I believe, yes, you can use it in your day-to-day SEO or AI operations. I believe it's very useful and time-saving operation. But for the future, I believe the video generation will be much more important than the image models.
I have to ask about schema again.
Great question. Yes, send it.
Again, referring back to our Dwayne Forrester conversation, he was the co-founder of schema.org, ton of debate around like, is schema used? Is it stripped out? And Dwayne had a really interesting take, which is, yes, it gets stripped out, right? Because the LLMs don't need brackets and things like that. But more than likely, when they're ingesting it, they're either tagging that content or classifying it in some way, which makes sense to me because why would, like, if you have those, think about it as like a label, right? Like you're basically labeling the content as you're ingesting it, regardless of whether that code is kept, is kind of a moot point if the label is already applied. And then you have all of these labels that you can then train the models on. Like that concept makes sense to me. What are your thoughts on schema? Have you done any testing around that where you got a reasonable, answer?
Many times we had a conversation with Dan Petrovich.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He also has many great names in the industry tested this approach. Just saying hi to Andrea Volpini from here. He have a great resources and experiments on this. I believe the schema is useful for LLMs, but I don't believe they're just reading the schema tags, but it's useful your traditional search engine results. And LLMs can't read the schema text in your source code, but if it's helpful for your rankings in traditional search engines and LLMs are using scrape to scrape results from search engines. So yes, it's not a direct factor, but you can use, and you won't lose anything. You can use this approach, but structured content and structure. I mean, the structure saying is a little bit different in LLMs. And I believe people just talk with their own ChatGPT models, characters in their daily lives. LLMs just placing these schema org tags can helpful for AI engines because LLMs now think from their offline trained data. Something very similar that AI search optimization is very same as SEO. So when they see more schema org suggestions, they start to believe it. Yes, it's a direct ranking factor or it's very useful to increase your brand visibility. I respect that, by the way. Yes, it's helpful for your traditional search engine rankings and LLM scraping these results. So yes, but it's not a direct factor, I believe, in my experiments. They
Got it.
can't read
Okay.
these data. They just tokenize them.
Got it. I wanted to ask one more question around the domain authority strategy. There was a list of domains that were identified as like top authority domains or most trusted on Perplexity's part, at least.
Yeah.
And you mentioned something around the concept of naturally incorporating references sort of manually in your content. And I was curious what you specifically meant. Did it mean like if you're writing a piece of content that you're adding links to Wikipedia, for example? Is that effectively what you mean? Just sort of using a very trusted domain as the citation for, maybe what you're saying or a data point? Is that how to sort of interpret that application?
Yes, I want to share this example. Let's say you're just write a sentence like, if you want to access our latest study, click here. And you use the anchor as click here. Instead, using this sentence for LLMs, we studied the latest ChatGPT prompts data, and according to our brand names analysis, we access these XYZ results. And if you want to see the results, click here. This is much better for LLMs and for their understanding because you're just sharing the concept with context. So they want to follow that direction. Especially imagine like every piece of web page just saying click here, their training data. So LLMs won't work properly. So
Right.
we need to use more concise language for this.
Got it. I wanted to quickly talk through your prompt analysis. I believe it was around like 2,000 prompts that you analyzed. First question, have you done additional analysis since then? Have you expanded that list beyond the initial 2,000?
Yes, I wanted to expand my research. Then I guess Ahrefs shared a great analysis. And then if I remembering wrong, please forgive me. Olivia from France shared a great study. Yes, I wanted to expand it, but during that time, Google already removed the public chats from SERPs. I use Data for Sale API to mine all SERP results, and I use Archive Wayback Machine. And I realized that, of course, it's a very small data, but you can identify some similar patterns in those prompts, like agentic use. They are assigning roles to LLMs. So these are great insights. And I just want to publish it and get feedback from our lovely SEO and search industry.
I pulled down about 7,000 of those from archive.org, but only the titles, because I just wanted to see if there's anything I could take out from the titles. And saw things very similar to what you found, like a lot of prompts that you wouldn't go to Google for, like analyze this, help me write this. One was crazy. It was like, we're trying to push out one of the co-founders. How do I put together? I was like, Jesus, this is, you don't want that public. Where was I going with that? So one of the things that you didn't see a lot of was transaction related prompts. And so I wanted to get your thoughts and your opinions on a lot of the recent news over the last couple of days with shopping and Shopify integration. Yeah, like, and I know that you're a big advocate of that's sort of where all of this is going. So I was really excited to get your thoughts and your opinions on, like, do you see maybe transactional type prompts increasing in the future, or sort of how do you?
Yes, OpenAI share their public data results for their overall prompt stats, like if people using generative, transactional queries, many other topics and categories for the prompts, and it's very useful. And I found the transactional data is very low at the moment for the share, but it will also increase. And people most likely use AI to discover new products. And I see many patterns from many e-commerce websites that I also working with many others at the moment. All same product discovery, not usual products or not the top selling usual products. You can see on your dashboard, on your analytics, all different, and people will use more effectively, and they need to learn how to use and create prompts at the same time. So I believe OpenAI is also trying to spread these narrative and know-how with partnering other giant companies like Shopify, Stripe, Etsy, and all others will just join. It's exciting, and I believe it's the first time I couldn't find any SEO related information from an OpenAI announcements. I mean, Sora is different, we know, and image generation, but this is agentic commerce, and first time ever we won't see any real user interaction on our e-commerce web pages and products. So it's very scary and very useful. Right now we need to track the only logs or transactions. How can I be more successful on the agentic e-commerce? Nothing at the moment, only partnering with other giants, sharing some technical complex stuff on GitHub and all other dev websites. So it's exciting, and I hope we will find other way. And this is another billions of market at the moment, agent e-commerce. I hope we all find a way to be early pioneers, early SEO and AI search pioneers in the industry, so we can buy new Lambos, I hope.
And finding Lambos, yes.
There's so much changing so quickly right now. It's hard to predict what's going to happen. We have a handful of like kind of rapid fire questions we'd like to ask you first before maybe John can get those started. Before he gets started, I've heard you say you predict SEOs become more important in the years to come because SEOs will be asked to try to understand how to optimize for AI. But it also seems to me with the announcement this week of the ChatGPT integration with Shopify and Etsy, affiliate marketing will have a resurgence of interest next year too.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and advertising is going to change next year too. It's just like next year is going to be totally different than this year, and this
Yes.
year was crazy
Yes.
to begin with.
Yes, just every year's Tim Cook announcements, this iPhone is the best iPhone ever produced. So we will crush the market, and this is a new disruptive tech product in there. But for the AI, it's a little different because I believe the real hype didn't start yet. I mean, the agentic part. Right now, we are asking SEOs like, what's your most popular pages in LLMs for bots? And if you compare with real humans on Google Analytics, what can you tell more? These are all weird questions if you compare with the last decade. I mean, so everything is just went crazy, and I believe agentic will be the new hype. We see many new products and SEOs. We are optimizing everything in our lives. I'm a lazy person, but I still looking for new stuff to optimize in my home. My wife asks something, you need to fix this, you need to fix this. Yes, because my whole perspective and thinking is like, yes, I need to optimize and fix this. Yes, I need to use better time. I need to look technical details. We will find a way to survive during these hard and exciting times, but we'll see. And it depends, of course.
I think you started the interview with the comment around like you were sort of getting bored in SEO, and now you're like excited with AI. And I think Joe and I have had this conversation many times with guests of there was a long period of time where SEO was just sort of ho hum, like it is what it's always been. And now there's just this resurgence of excitement and, new voices like yourself that are helping to push the envelope on this whole new side of SEO. It's really awesome to see. All right. So to wrap up, a couple of quick rapid fire questions. You're pushing a lot of these conversations and doing a lot of this research yourself, but I was curious, who do you go to get information around AI and SEO? Who are your go-to followers to get this sort of information?
I mean, who also I follow from the industry.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. First, of course, Dan Petrovic, Dejan said. He's just an amazing guy. And he just went very crazy. He's now training his own models. I will set up a new computer environment in my home if my wife allows to do me that. But we'll see. My king, of course, and
Yes.
Lil is sharing great stuff from the publisher's perspective, for our lovely community perspective, not just the publisher, and Andrea Volpini, of course, from WordLift. He shares very technical guides. I don't want to skip any name. Olivier from France, Natsir from Spain. Of course, you and your guests. I love every person in the community. Aleyda, of course, Yamu from Turkey. So many great names at the moment. I don't want to skip any name, but you can follow these names.
I think all of those are on our guest wish list as well.
Yes, Glenn Gabe and of course Barry Schwartz.
Yes, of course.
They are creating great content.
Of the LLMs, so ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, is there one that you find most difficult to optimize for or has the most nuance to optimize for?
I can say maybe Claude, they're likely using some different search queries at the moment, a little bit different, completely different, but I can, say. And Perplexity is using very high embedding similarity with the questions, so it's that hard to.
Got it. Okay. Do you have a favorite probing prompt to test answer diversity that you always go to?
Yes.
Will you share it?
No, I won't share it.
If not, that's okay too.
No. I ask a couple of times same question or similar questions and use people also as data because they are real user questions, and I use Reddit using some extensions. I built my own tools to get the real questions from real humans, and I check the similarity, what their attention. From the LLM's perspective, what are their most or top used bigrams, semantic triples, let's say. I analyze them and try to place in my content. This is exclusively for our audience, podcast audience.
Love that. And last question, we like to ask a prediction question. And I'm going to switch it up a little bit because I think you have a really unique perspective. So which AI search engine will dominate by 2027?
I believe it will be a hard question. Google has the best real-time machine learning system. So I will say two candidates, probably Gemini and ChatGPT. Because the latest ChatGPT agreements on the Oracle stuff, they will provide more money. And I hope we will see much stronger computational power and energy solutions in the all around the world, so we can see much faster and effective LLMs. But I see OpenAI and Google will dominate the market.
Amazing. Metehan, this has been super enlightening. I really appreciate it, especially given the late hour there. And let everyone know where they can find you online.
Yes, they can reach me out anytime on X and LinkedIn, anytime. Just say hi. It's okay.
All right. Sounds good. All right, everyone. This is wrapping up episode 99, episode 100 coming next week. And please remember, if you liked the episode, please remember to rate, subscribe, and review. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.